Cool. All right, guys. Thank you for attending today's Kick Sugar and Curb Cravings workshop. I'm very excited to present this to you. This is the first time that I've run it, and it's got a lot of value in there, so I hope you get a lot out of it. I'm not sure if you had a chance to download the worksheet. I'm not sure if you can see me on the screen, probably not actually, but there's the Kick Sugar and Curb Cravings worksheet. And also the healthy, refined, sugar-free snacks as well. That is in the emails if you haven't got it. And yeah, cool. All right, so let's get started. Let's see if I can, I have to do a little scroll. All right, so today we're going to cover why refined sugar is so bad for you, how to find hidden sugars, what sugar does to your body and brain, the not so sweet factors about artificial sweeteners, whether healthy sugars are better or not, and practical ways to kick sugar so you can lose weight, have more energy and feel better overall. I'm just being mindful. I just want to make sure that, where are we? I haven't got a good screen to show me if there's others waiting in the, hang on a sec, where are we? I think that should be fine. I'll just check on occasion just to make sure there's not those waiting in the waiting room. And I'm going to share with you some practical ways to kick sugar. So you can, there'll be 7 tips that I share as well. And I'll share with you the underlying drivers of sugar cravings and how I can help you if you would like some help moving forward. Cool. So move this over here. So I am a qualified nutritionist. I'm based in Darwin in Australia, and I help women via my 6-week program to move away from dieting and create healthy habits instead to help you lose weight, have more energy and just feel happier within yourselves, all in a way that is simple, easy and sustainable long term. I find when it comes to making positive change in your life, it's got to be sustainable. Otherwise, doing something where you're putting in a whole heap of changes at once, it's just not a sustainable thing moving forward. So cool. All right. So what is sugar? So sugar is I suppose it's the general name for sweet tasting carbs, and it's found in so many different kinds of foods. So there's fructose in fruit, lactose in milk, maltose in grains. And all carbs and sugars break down to glucose, which gives us energy. And this workshop, just to be clear, it's not about not having any carbs or any sugar in your diet at all and only eating like carrots or an apple. It's about really focusing on the quality of the sugar we're eating and just limiting those refined sugars and hidden sugars. So yeah, and basically reducing these is the first step to kicking sugar. Cool. So refined sugar. So when you think of sugar, you're probably thinking of the white sugar. This is the refined sugar that's made from sugarcane or the sugar beet plant. And sugar production strips all the good nutrients away from plants, creating like a white crystalline powder. That's often genetically modified or just covered with pesticides and herbicides and things like that. So it's that type of sugar that we want to reduce our intake of. Okay. So today, well, I suppose sugar really dominates our food supply. It's in everything. Everywhere we go, it's in biscuits and breads and cakes and soft drinks. Whenever we go to Woolworths, like most of the food on the shelves have got some sort of sugar in there. It's in tomato sauce, in salad dressing, marinades, and rice bubbles. So in all sorts of things. And sugar is actually, there's a lot of foods that sugar is disguised in. So things like, it's probably obvious with caramel, but yeah, like date sugar and fructose and glucose and maltose. Raw sugar has sugar in it, even though it's got more nutrition. It's in fruit juices and yeah, just a variety of different things. Honey, honey's got lots of sugar in it. Barley malt, malt syrup. So it's just being aware that sugar can be disguised in so many different ways. And high fructose corn syrup can be found in soft drinks and processed foods. So it's a byproduct of corn manufacturing. It's a sweetener, which is much cheaper than glucose, and it's processed by the liver. And so when you're drinking lots and lots of soda, Cokes, and just, whatever, lemonades and things like that, by having that much being processed by the liver, it can lead to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and an increase in triglycerides and cholesterol. It also increases, which is really disturbing, intestinal permeability, which can lead to inflammation in the body, allergies, irritable bowel syndrome, and autoimmune issues as well. And it really does drive obesity, which we have a huge epidemic in Australia and in the world at the moment. I just realized, is my earrings causing any issues with the sound? No, I'll just take them out because I can hear little dinky donks going on. Cool. All right. Okay. I just want to, just give me just a second. I just want to make sure there's not others in the waiting room. Oh, cool. All good. I'm doing this via Zoom, which I haven't done before. I just want to make sure that it's all working okay. Cool. Okay. So back in the older days, we used to be low sugar humans. So, and our genes have evolved in a very, our genes evolved in a low sugar world. There wasn't much around. We ate lots of complex carbs, fats, and proteins back in the hunter-gatherer type days. And they would typically have about 20 teaspoons a year compared to up to 17 teaspoons of sugar a day, which is what a lot of us have now. So I'd love to hear from you guys. How many teaspoons of sugar do you think you might have a day? You can unmute yourself if you like. I find a lot of clients have over 6 teaspoons a day, which is what the recommendation is. And yeah, so a teaspoon is about 4 grams of sugar. So like when you look on a back of a packet, you'll be able to see that how much sugar is in there. Oops, sorry guys, chat. Oh, Linda, thank you. So Linda's saying maybe 6. Yeah, so 6 teaspoons a day is fine, but any more than that, it can be quite a lot, especially for women. Men, for some reason, are allocated 9 teaspoons. But yeah, 6 teaspoons is what we should be having. So it can be quite, when you look on even if you have a look like a can of Coke, if you have, say, a can of Coke, that's probably got, oh, I should have looked up the figures, but yeah, it's way over 6 teaspoons just for one, which is, yeah, quite concerning. Cool. All right. And okay. And then I suppose now we have, same as before, we've got supermarkets that just have so many foods full of sugar. Even when you go, if you get takeaway, there's sugar added into takeaway. It's just everywhere. And compared to what it was back in hunter-gatherer type years, right now, like there is no winter, there's no famine, there's no long hikes or being chased by animals, or maybe our dog's chasing us around. But yeah, like we're not in that kind of world anymore. We spend most of our time sitting down. So yeah, we sit a lot and we're not moving as much as we used to. And we are still the same as our ancestors in terms of how we are made. And we are pretty much very well designed to store excess sugar as fat, which is what it was designed for, so that in those times of famine, you would have extra energy for the body to release. But now we're just building it and building it on. Yeah, and we're also more stressed and we don't sleep enough, and we often just eat way too much sugar, even without realizing it. So here's a little image just to show you what sugar does to your brain and body. and we'll go into, there's a few more slides that go into some of this in more detail, but you can sort of see that, you know, like a healthy diet, you know, and the production of glucose, it tells the brain to produce insulin, and that helps your body regulate blood sugar. So when you're having too much sugar, your blood sugar can be affected. Sugar can contribute to high blood pressure and heart disease. It can affect your memory, can cause weight gain, insulin resistance as well, especially with type 2 diabetes. And, you know, can have your energy just sort of be all over the place. You could be really energized and really flat. And I've got a little diagram on that shortly. Causes cavities, can contribute to all kinds of diseases. So pancreatic cancer, gout, kidney disease, and as well as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which we're seeing a lot more of. It's interesting, when I personally had a sugar addiction in my, this is many years ago before I started learning about nutrition. And I used to go and get like bags of lollies, and just, you know, those lollies that you get that are like little milk drops, or it could be, what was it? The little, those, I don't know what they're called, but like little bananas and things like that. I used to buy a bag of those, and I would just eat so much of them, not realizing that it was like causing so much issues in my digestive system. I'd get a lot of pain. I was like, my energy was all over the place. I was miserable. I had acne. And yeah, like it just affected my whole well-being. I would get sick all the time. And yeah, it was just and as well as cavities, like my teeth were terrible. I used to have lots of holes in my teeth. So yeah, and it's just, that was just me not being aware of what sugar was doing to my body. So sugar, it really does deplete your body of precious nutrients, because all of the vitamins and minerals and all the good fiber and things that are in sort of in healthy sugar has been stripped away, and your body has to pull its own reserves to be able to break down that sugar. So you just think of white sugar. It's the same as like white bread. White bread has got no nutrition around. So you've got like a, what do they call it? Like a wheat germ. I'm from the central wheat belt of WA, so I grew up on a wheat farm, and we have a lot of, I'm just going to admit, sorry, someone else is just joining. Yeah, and so I grew up on a wheat farm, and then we had all this beautiful, lovely wheat, and then it would go off to get processed. And then the wheat germ would be completely stripped away. And then they'll then grind that down and make, yeah, white flour out of that, which is what we see today. So yeah, it's quite an interesting process how that all works. All right, whoops, try and get the next slide. So sugar has a really big impact on our body. It causes us, hello, sorry, my partner's just come home. It causes us a weakened immune system. Sugar suppresses our white blood cells for up to 5 hours, which is a really long time. And it can lead to chronic infections. As well as cardiovascular disease, sugar contributes to inflammation, damaged blood vessels and things like that, and hypoglycemia. So if you get angry, or if you haven't eaten, I know I used to get like that. I get really cranky. If you get fatigued really easily, or have a lack of concentration, you might have mood swings, sweats, things like that. That can be a sign of a sugar imbalance. As well as type 2 diabetes. So what happens is when you're having lots and lots of, like when you have sugar, insulin comes in to mop up all of that sugar, and then it can store it into the fat cells. So, but when you have so much sugar coming in from whatever foods that you're eating, the insulin, it kind of just gets dulled and numbed, and then the response isn't as strong, and that can be what leads to type 2 diabetes. Sorry, I'm just moving something on the screen. It can also lead to depression. So sugar really does mess with serotonin levels. So yeah, eating too much sugar, it can cause you to feel flat and have a low mood, and all sorts of issues there. and also weight gain as well. It also increases the risk of cancer. There was a major European study that found women with high blood sugar levels, they're at an increased risk of developing cancers of the pancreas, the skin, uterus, and urinary tract. And high blood sugar was also linked to breast cancer for women under 49, which is really scary. Yeah, it's just awful. So a lot of us are really addicted to sugar. It's more addictive than cocaine, which you would think, really? But yeah, like so many, a lot of Australians and a lot of people all around the world are highly addicted to sugar. And when we eat foods that contain a lot of sugar, we get like a massive amount of dopamine released in the brain as a reward. So you're like, oh, I feel good. But then it can drop you really hard as well. Dopamine is like our pleasure neurotransmitter, and it causes those powers of feeling, like feeling happy, feeling relaxed, feeling good. But if we keep eating sugar like that, our brain, just like insulin, it downregulates the dopamine receptors. So they kind of get dulled over a period of time. And then you feel like you need more sugar to get that feel good feeling. So yeah, it's interesting how, like, when your body has too much of something, it just ends up not being able to cope too well with it. So this is a diagram of how the sort of blood sugar roller coaster works. So, it starts with having, a meal full of sugar, and then the body goes into this sort of like panic mode. And then that's when you have you've got increased insulin, increased fat storage happens, you might get anxiety, mood swings, brain fog, and then you get that massive dip, which is, increased cortisol, increased fatigue, and all of that. So it's interesting how you get those sort of up and downs, and you may have experienced that in your life as well. Okay. Now, if you guys have got your worksheet as well, one of the questions in there is, what are some signs and symptoms you experience because of refined sugar? If you just want to perhaps leave a comment in the, where is it? Yeah, if you wanted to leave a comment on some of the symptoms that you may experience, that would be awesome. Just hide that. Cool. And sugar is stressful. It really is. The blood sugar roller coaster causes an enormous biological and chemical stress on the body and on the brain. And it's that same feeling like you're running away from a tiger, but you could actually just be sitting at your desk or laying on the couch watching a movie. And yeah, this constant stress, it really does age the brain and the body. And it contributes to so many diseases, as I touched on before. Yeah, Wendy, you're saying tiredness, poor sleep, occasional headaches. Yeah, and that's the thing, like sugar can give you, can contribute to so many things, but like feeling tired and not sleeping and then getting headaches are like the worst ones to experience, definitely. And, oh, Sandy, you're saying brain fog. Yes. I remember constantly being in a daze when I was just completely addicted to sugar, just not functioning, feeling a bit stoned. It's like, just not really with it. Was my experience, but yeah, cloudy minded type thing for sure. Cool. Yeah, and so the one thing that will have the biggest impact on your life and on your health is getting off that roller coaster and really rebalancing your blood sugar by reducing your intake. And it's not just, like I was saying before, it's not about cutting it all out and completely depriving yourself of sugar. It's just looking at different ways where you can start to reduce them. Cool. So yeah, so when we're looking to get like kick sugar from our diet, it's really important when you're wanting to lose weight, have more energy, improve sleep and stress, improve digestion. Hormone balancing is really crucial. And yeah, getting rid of those cravings as well. It's so interesting, and I'll go into that later, but when you, no, I've just had a mind blank. Sorry. No, totally forgot. Sorry. I was going to say sorry, but I'll come back to it. So, oh yeah, sorry. So with cravings, a lot of the time it's our body screaming out for nutrients, and you'll find one of the recommendations is about increasing your nutrient intake. That is so key to like reducing cravings. Yeah, and just mood and having clear skin and just reducing chronic disease, and also just letting go of dieting so that you're leading a healthier lifestyle and eating healthy foods, which naturally helps with weight loss as well. And yeah, so in your worksheet, I've got in here, where are we? Oh yeah, so what would kicking sugar do for you? So are you looking for more energy, less stress? If you'd like to share, that would be awesome. But yeah, like in your worksheet, just write down what you would like to have from kicking sugar from your diet or reducing it down. Cool. All right, so let's talk about artificial sweeteners. So these are things like your products like Splenda and Equal, pretty much. They're found in diet foods like soft drinks, especially aspartame. That's found in Diet Cokes. So even though they say that Coke is sugar-free, it's not. It's got aspartame in there. And as you'll see, it causes so many issues with the brain. And yeah, so your body is pretty much, it is sugar, but your body can't absorb it, and it causes harm to your body as it's going through the other end. Yeah, so, and it's also found in like not only soft drinks, but yogurts and even chewing gum. So that sweet chewing gum can also be artificial sweeteners as well. And even packaged foods, like they're making changes to foods now that we're not even aware of. I came across this, I think it was an article or something I was looking at, where they were super excited about what was it, muffins and blueberries. They genetically modified a blueberry, so it kind of looks like a blueberry, tastes like a blueberry, but it's actually been chemically compounded and put together to be something that is, it lasts longer and it's cheaper for those sort of putting them into muffins and things. Like, you know, when you go to Woolworths or Coles and you go and buy those pre-packaged muffins, sometimes those actually have you know, they've got hundreds of ingredients in there, and a lot of the time it can be made with fake ingredients, which is really a bit disturbing. Yeah, and yeah, so artificial sweeteners. So there was research done on this in 2017, and that showed that artificial sweeteners can increase blood sugar, contribute to obesity, increase the risk for type 2 diabetes, and can contribute to high blood pressure as well. And it's also they're also carcinogenic as well, which can cause cancer. So all these horrible things. Yes, Sandy, yuck. Totally. I think you're meaning with the, what was it, the muffins. It's, yeah, there's a lot of non-foods out there that our bodies don't actually recognize as foods. So yeah, it's interesting. We're in a very precarious world at the moment. Cool. So healthy, let's talk about healthy sugars. So, you know, like you've got honey, molasses, maple syrup, agave, dates as well. So you've got healthy sugar options that are there, and they've got more vitamins and minerals in them, like raw sugar as well. But it's still sugar. So they still break down to glucose and can still contribute to a spike, especially those things like when you look at honey and molasses, like all the things at the top there, they're a liquid. So not Majuli dates, they're a bit different, but yeah, so they have glucose that's readily available. So it can still cause a spike, even though they have vitamins and minerals. So it's just being aware of that as well. Cool. So yeah, it's still important to watch how much you eat. And then stevia. So stevia seems okay so far, especially if you have the stevia leaf. Like the stevia, what is it? When they've manufactured it, it's sort of come from a leaf. So it's more natural, and it doesn't appear to impact on insulin levels. So that's probably a healthier option if you're still wanting to have a little bit of that in your life. Wendy's asked, are fresh dates better than dried dates? Yes. Yeah, dried dates, it's like dried fruit. They become more condensed with sugar. So yeah, having fresh dates is definitely much better for sure. Cool. And even like having fresh dates as a snack, that's fine, but it's just being aware of how much sugar you're having in your diet overall. All right. So before we get into the 7 tips, have a think about on your worksheet, what refined sugars could you start eliminating or swapping out from your diet? And if you've got any, if you want to share that in the comments, please do. And it just could be a handful of things. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, my partner's, I think, popping off to Bunnings. Good old Saturday tasks. Cool. All right. So let's get stuck into the 7 tips to kick sugar, because that's why we're all here. So tip number 1, so drink water. So often, sweet cravings, when you get those sort of that feeling like you really need to eat, often that is a sign your body's telling you it's dehydrated. There's a fine line between actually feeling like you need to eat something or because you're hungry and actually being dehydrated. So having a glass of water before you go and eat something is really a great option to do as well. And also, like, once you've had the glass of water, see if you're still feeling those cravings. So it could be that your body's actually just dehydrated. And, like caffeine, too much of it mimics a blood sugar crash. So you get that kind of boost in energy, but then you can start crashing down a bit as well. So it's sort of like sugar, gives you that kind of up and down. So keeping sugar to a minimum, keeping caffeine to a minimum as well is also important. Same with alcohol, which is quite interesting. So that's the first tip. The second one is swapping out unhealthy sugars for a healthier version. So I think a couple of days ago, I sent you a healthy, refined, sugar-free snack. So this will help you with that. Your tongue actually has sweet taste buds, and sometimes they just demand to be satisfied. So swapping out the unhealthy sugars for a healthier version, like homemade bliss balls or muesli bars or a piece of fruit or even just some dark chocolate can help with satisfying that. And I've got a really yummy chocolate protein ball recipe on my website if you go to louiseellennutrition.com.au. And even like some of the sugar-free snacks that are in your handout are things like bliss balls and, green smoothie, popcorn, dark chocolate, sliced apple with some nut butter. That's just, you can even make a smoothie. So there's all different options that you can use to swap out the unhealthy sugars. And then, of course, eat more veggies. I find most people don't eat enough veggies, and it makes sense because there's about 10% of the Australian population consume 5 serves of veggies a day. And like a serve is actually like if you had a handful of spinach and you put that into a cup, that would be 1 serve. If you chopped up some vegetables and put them in half a cup, that would be 1 serve. So it's about increasing your intake where possible to 5 serves a day. 5 serves is the recommended amount. 7 is like amazing if you can do 7, but 5 is the government recommended amount. And so veggies, they are so important. They've got so many nutrients, like you've got potassium, fiber, folate, vitamin A, vitamin C. And they also have all these phytonutrients and different cancer preventative type properties that, I mean, we haven't even discovered. I reckon in 5-10 years time, we'll discover more things about vegetables that we don't even know. So yeah, start looking at ways to increase your intake. It could be by having salad with lunch, having a green smoothie. Green smoothies are actually amazing because you can just get 3 to 4 serves in one go. They also give you a boost in energy. You feel like so much more alert and clear-minded. It helps with weight loss and also curbing those cravings as well. And you could even have like veggie sticks with hummus as a snack, or you could just add more veggies to your dinner. So there's all kind of different things you can do just to increase your intake. And protein. So it's really important to have protein with every meal and snack where possible. So like eggs with avocado on sourdough rather than like cereal, things like that. Protein slows the absorption of glucose so that we don't get that big kind of high spike and then the drop. And it helps us be fuller for longer as well. A good protein-rich breakfast does wonders to curb those cravings, especially at 3 p.m, where you kind of feel like, oh, I need a bit of a boost, and then you have that sugar. So it kind of helps with preventing that from occurring. And then sleep. So getting enough sleep. So if you are constantly tired, like your body is always going to be looking for ways to get more energy, which is often from sugar or caffeine, but it's not real energy. You kind of get a spike. It's like your body is utilizing reserves that it doesn't really have, and then you get that drop. So by increasing, like going to sleep earlier if possible, will make a massive difference, and it can also help with cravings as well. Plus, when you've slept well and you've got lots of energy, you feel like you've got more oomph to go and make healthier options, where sometimes when you're tired, you just kind of go for those easy options, which may not be the so healthy options. And exercise. So movement is crucial to be able to curb those cravings as well. It releases stress. Like Wendy, you've been going for a walk, which is amazing. It burns up glucose, it lowers insulin, plus it produces endorphins, it boosts serotonin, and it just makes us feel happy. When you don't get enough, the body starts to look for other ways to blow off steam, like binging on sugar. So yeah, it's really important to exercise. And I know it can be really difficult to exercise, especially because the way we live our lifestyles, we don't often, like there's no ways of exercising. Like there's ways of exercising, but it's harder sometimes. So it's just finding ways where you can increase more movement in your life, whether it's like doing 5 minutes of dancing to a song or going for a walk around the block. If you work in an office building, it's doing the stairs, or if you've got a property, walking around the property. It's just looking at different ways, and as well as doing team sports or going to the gym, just finding what works for you rather than what you think you should do. It's really about what works for you so that it's sustainable long term. Cool. And also eating full fat. So I know there's a lot of products out there that are like fat-free and, but really they push, when they say fat-free, they end up putting more sugar in there, or they water it down with things. So especially when it comes to milk. And it's not just about having full fat, like milk and things like that. You want to not reduce your intake. Sorry, you don't want to be eating too much dairy, but it's having full fat things like avocados and nuts and seeds, healthy fats like fish. If you're having cheese, it's not looking at the plastic cheeses, but looking at more of the cheddar type cheeses, full fat yogurt, things like that. Same as protein, it keeps you fuller for longer and it stops those sort of cravings. So that's the 7 tips for reducing sugar and curbing cravings. Have a think about, like in your worksheet, have a think about what are 3 that you could perhaps look at putting into place in the next week or so. And if you'd like to share those 3, I'd love to hear from you. Cool. And it could be like you might just go, all right, I'm going to just go to bed 15 minutes earlier so I can start getting more sleep. Or I'm just going to start adding an extra handful of veggies to my diet, and I'm just going to increase, a handful of vegetables to my dinner or to lunch, or try a green smoothie. Yeah, so things, just having a think about what are some small changes that you can start putting in place rather than thinking you have to do all 3, just some small changes. Cool. All right. All right, now let's talk about conquering cravings. Got a lovely big stack of chocolate there. All right, so I suppose before we talk about cravings, I'm going to do an experimental exercise with you guys. So we'll do that shortly. But it's interesting, binge eating and emotional eating often happens on autopilot. So, and mindful eating is one way to just become more conscious, to be able to change that behavior. I remember working with a lady who she was just so stressed and so busy that I remember once she actually bought something from, I know she bought a chocolate bar or something, and then I heard her yell out, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Oh, what's going on?" And she's like, "I didn't even realize I ate that chocolate bar." Like, she literally ate it, didn't even realize. And then she was all disappointed that she really felt like eating it and she already had. So that's sort of, I suppose, like just not, just being completely not aware, I suppose. So that's just one small example of that. I found that, I just thought that was really interesting. She didn't even remember eating it. Oh, cool. So Sandy, you're saying more sleep, eating full fat, and green smoothies. Awesome. You'll love the green smoothies. I've got some great green smoothies on my website as well under the recipes section. And then Wendy, you're saying, is eating fruit and yogurt together too much sugar at once? So if you're having, say, Greek yogurt, and then say you're having like, you can still have 2 pieces of fruit a day. So if you're having like Greek yogurt with, say, some muesli, and then like some chopped up fruit on top, that is fine. Claire, drink more water, extra veg, cool, and eating full fat dairy, fantastic. And Wendy, same as Sandy, awesome, cool. Yeah, you'll love those green smoothies. I'm a massive fan. I'm a bit biased though. Cool. All right, so this is the exercise. So have a look at the strawberry on the top right-hand side, and then imagine smelling it. So imagine kind of going, like imagine what a really fresh strawberry feels like and smells like, and imagine what it's going to taste like. And then close your eyes and imagine eating, like taking a small bite of it and really focusing in on that burst of flavor that you have when you're eating it. The texture, the popping sounds from, you know, the little seeds, crunching it, and then smell the strawberry again. And what can you notice? And then imagine taking another bite. And when you chew it, does it become sweeter? So this is just one sort of example. I probably ran through it too fast. My apologies. But yeah, it's just really honing in. So when you're eating, it's really focusing in on just enjoying every mouthful, chewing your food thoroughly, and just enjoying that meal rather than just woofing it down. Because sometimes we just get so busy. It's like, I don't have time. I just need to eat quick. Yeah, and so like really enjoying every mouthful. Yeah, so mindfulness, that's really what mindfulness is all about, is just really focusing in on what you're eating. And it's interesting too, there was, I can't remember where I read it, but when you're watching TV at night and you're having dinner, you can quite often eat 20% more food because you're distracted by the TV. So yeah, your body And because you're not focusing on what you're eating, you're focusing on the television, which so many people do. But yeah, you can end up eating more. And it's the same as, I suppose, that kind of, it makes sense because, you know, like if you've got pain, say, I don't know, you're getting something done, waxing or tattooing or something, where if you focus on a different area of your body while that's going on, that can take the pain away. It's the same as sort of like when you're eating and you're looking at the TV, you're not focusing on the digestive system doing or feeling full, you're more onto what's happening on the screen. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. And cravings. So what are your biggest cravings when it comes to sugar? Please share a comment, share in the comments. And what time of day is it? Is it 3 o'clock? Is it first thing in the morning? Is it after dinner? And then it's thinking about like, how do you curb those cravings? How do you feel when you give in to having sugar? Like this cupcake here, if you ate that, you're like, oh, I really want it, and you eat it. How do you feel afterwards? And then have a think about one tweak or change that you could make to kind of reduce those cravings down. So it could be that you just go, all right, it's at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, I'm going to swap that out to try and reduce those cravings. Or at night time when I've got the after dinner kind of craving, I'm just going to have some blueberries, and that's that. Yeah, so it's just kind of, it's interesting just to identify what you're craving and when you have those cravings. Sandy, you were saying chocolate, ice cream, usually in the afternoon or after dinner. Yeah, it's interesting because in the morning, that's really the best time to set yourself up for success by having breakfast and having, you know, like eat breakfast, lunch, and having a snack. So those three kind of things before the afternoon can really set you up for success. And yeah, Claire, you're saying same. Yeah. And it's interesting because like sugar is so addictive, and like chocolate and ice cream are one of the two main things that a lot of women especially have cravings for. So it's really looking at what can I do to set myself up for success in the morning and for lunch and as a snack in the morning if you have a snack, so that in the afternoon you've got plenty of nutrition, so you feel energized, and rather than feeling like you've got that sugar craving. Sandy, you're saying I've just started eating an orange after dinner and that's helped. Oh, that's fantastic. Good. Awesome. So it's interesting. A lot of women beat themselves up, you know, by not having the willpower, thinking like, I don't have enough willpower to do this. And really, willpower is a finite resource. We only have so much of it, especially when we are exhausted, and, you know, there's other things that are distracting us, you know, like it could even be like, you know, you have a very busy lifestyle and, you know, but you want to be able to change, you want to change your eating habits, but then having the willpower to do it can sometimes just be so hard. And we often exhaust our willpower on so many other things. It could be, you know, getting out of bed, especially when it's freezing cold in the morning, or, you know, like waiting in line for, you know, at the shops and you're like, come on, you got someone scanning through really slowly, or it could just be really focusing on a task, doing a project, or it could be at work where you're super busy. It's like you're using your willpower on that. So by the time the afternoon comes around, sometimes you just want to go, you know what, I just want to have that bit of ice cream or chocolate. So yeah, we're kind of all out of willpower by that time. And depriving yourself as well, it just doesn't work. It's the same with dieting, you know, like when you are trying to restrict yourself, depriving yourself of foods, it just doesn't work. We don't have it in us to just to live that way. And especially when you say to yourself, right, I'm never going to have sugar again, you start to crave it even more. You kind of go into panic, like I need it, I must have it, you know. And if you're addicted to sugar, which a lot of people are, And, you know, emotional eating as well. It can also be due to, you know, like low dopamine, things like that. So often we are fighting ourselves, and it's very hard to win when you're doing that. And tough love as well. How many times do you punish yourself, you know, especially if you've gone and had something and you're like, oh, I feel so guilty. And you're saying to yourself like, oh, I can't believe I did that. You know, you're just making yourself feel so bad. And, you know, thinking that, you know, you don't have the strength and things like that to give in to cravings. It's interesting. And yeah, especially our self-talk. Our self-talk can be super negative when it comes to when we feel, we feel guilty after we've done something. And it's really, it's us that is doing it, but we're feeling guilty for it. You know, and some of the examples here are, you know, like going, oh, I was going to have a small meal now for dinner because I, you know, overate, or yeah, it's interesting. So what actually works? So cravings are often the body trying to communicate something to you, often a nutrient or a desire. So, you know, things like when I was saying before about vegetables, the body's saying to you, I'm craving sugar, but really I'm craving nutrition. When your body has adequate nutrition from, say, green smoothies or having whole grains, things like that, your body doesn't crave sugar anymore because it's got everything it needs. You know, and when you're not happy in an area of your life, it's sometimes easier to reach for sugar because you feel like, I'll just get that dopamine hit. But then once you've had it, you get that rise and then that plummet as well. And then you feel like a bit worse off than what you were. And anytime you feel like you need to reach for food, it's kind of going, listening to, okay, hang on, what's going on? What can I do right now to reduce this from occurring? And what are you really hungry for? So underneath those cravings, quite often it can be an emotion that you're trying to avoid. It's your body seeking to balance itself, like with nutrition. And the more you ignore it, especially when you're trying to just ignore cravings, the stronger they'll become. So it's looking at things. Are you low in dopamine? Does your life lack joy and pleasure? You know, so you sort of see it through sugar rather than looking at ways, okay, what can I do to have more joy and pleasure in my life? Are you taking enough time out for yourself, or are you just completely stressed and run ragged? And are you being really hard on yourself as well? And some other reasons, it could, you know, that you're having cravings. It could be insulin resistance, it could be diabetes, you know, like pre-diabetes. It could be a hormone imbalance, especially when you've got like too much cortisol or low thyroid. Anxiety and mental health issues as well. A lot of us have that. It's interesting. I see a lot of clients with anxiety and feeling really flat. Yeah, life is not as easy as it could be sometimes. It could be due to gut infections, so parasites, things like that, gut dysbiosis, poor nutrition and nutrient deficiencies. That's actually the number one thing when it comes to cravings, I find that's the number one thing that is causing cravings. And it's something that you can do about right now. Cool. So what we've covered so far, we've talked about why refined sugar is not so good for you, how to find hidden sugars in foods, and what happens to your body and brain when you feel, when you give it too much sugar. And we've also looked at 7 practical ways to kick sugar so you can naturally lose weight and feel better. And we've also talked about the underlying drivers of sugar cravings as well. So what I might say now is I'm going to go into a model that I want to share with you. But if you've got any questions about anything in the slides, have a write of them now and I'll go through them at the end. But I wanted to share with you a model that I've developed about sustainable change. So when we're wanting to make sustainable change in our life, I find the number one thing is really being clear on what you want, why you want it, and being ready to do something about it. So it's going, all right, I'm ready to make some changes in my life so that future me is going to be more energized, she'll be lighter, she'll feel more happier within herself. It's kind of, yeah, being very clear on that. When you're not clear on what you want and you're kind of swaying in and out of things, sustainable change can be quite difficult to do. And then the three key things that I've found that work really well together is mindset. So really working out what are some of those things that are causing you to feel disempowered, and then looking at how to create an empowered mindset where you believe in yourself, that you have your own back, you feel good about yourself, you've got positive beliefs that are really supporting you on your journey. And then it's knowing the fundamentals. So I'm not sure about you guys, but when I was going through school, there was no nutrition learning. I knew there was a pyramid. My diet when I was younger was completely atrocious because I had no idea that I shouldn't be eating bags of lollies and heaps of pasta. And, you know, we grew up on a farm. We ate really healthy, but I didn't know why we were eating healthy. So when I left and went into the big city of Perth, I just went and ate all the foods that I was never allowed to have. And that was 80% of my diet. So you can imagine how bad my health was back then, because I didn't have the fundamentals. I didn't understand the basics of nutrition. I didn't understand how the digestive system worked. I didn't understand that, you know, like just simple things like chewing my food thoroughly. If I don't chew properly, it's going to go into my stomach. And if I drink heat, you know, it's going to be chunked in my stomach. It's going to take longer to break down. And if I drink heaps of water while I'm eating, it's going to cause bloating. And so all the pain and things that I used to experience in my digestive system was mostly due to chewing. So it's quite interesting. Even the fundamentals of meal planning and setting your kitchen up for success in a way that it makes it super easy. Learning cooking basics, all of that are the fundamentals. And then implementation. So it's about putting things in place, reviewing your progress, looking at ways to prevent setbacks, and creating taking regular action, those sort of things. So if your mindset's not right and you're feeling really, you don't believe that you can make change, you could know the fundamentals and you could be putting stuff in place, but your mindset will always trip you up. Where if your mind is right and you're like, yes, I can do this, but if you haven't got the basics, like the fundamentals, you could be thinking you're eating healthy, but it's not working. And same as you might have really positive mindset and you know exactly what to do, but you're not taking action, you're just learning, then that's the same. Sustainable change can be made hard as well. And then when you've got support and accountability to help you with putting all this in place, it makes a big difference as well. Okay. Just give me a sec. My computer is on low battery. Okay. All right. So if you find making change alone a bit difficult, perhaps you are putting it off, or you're feeling a bit blocked, the motivation may not be there. If you find that it's quite difficult, what if you had a plan that was tailored to your dietary needs and lifestyle rather than a one-size-fits-all? A plan that is simple, easy, and sustainable long-term, plus someone to support you along the way and keep you accountable. It can make a really big difference. So I just wanted to share that if you are looking for some help, why not book in for a nutrition consult? I work one-on-one with individuals via Zoom and in person. You'll receive a personalised diet and lifestyle plan. It's easy to follow. It'll help you get started on your journey. It includes, we get really clear on your goals. and I'll give you a bunch of diet and habit recommendations that are tailored specifically to your diet and lifestyle. And yeah, you'll also have an easy to implement action plan, plus tasty recipes and handouts as well to get you started. Yeah, and if you're looking for additional support and accountability on your journey, I also have a 6-week coaching program thereafter that may be of interest as well. Yeah, so if you're wanting to get away from dieting and make real and lasting change, or create a lifestyle change that is simple, easy, and sustainable long term, or just, you know, like you're wanting to lose weight and keep it off, have more energy, feel happier, comfy in your clothes, and confident in your skin, then a nutrition consult may be for you. And a nutrition consult is, it's $150. It goes for about 60 to 75 minutes via Zoom. And yeah, and if you book a consult by next Friday, which you can book, you don't have to have the consult by next Friday, as long as you have it within the next 3 months, you'll receive a meal planning kit. So this is an electronic kit that contains a 14-day meal plan. It's tailored to help you lose weight. It's got a whole heap of recipes, a meal planning guide that just takes 20 minutes a week to implement. And it's valued at $97. So yeah, I've got appointments available from 7th of December. And yeah, you can book your appointment in this week, and you can book it within have the actual session within the next 3 months. Yeah, and I just wanted to share that just some testimonials as well. I work with mostly with women who have dieted on and off for most of their life, and they're just wanting a different way to be able to lose weight without having to, that's not hard, that it's simple, easy, and sustainable. I've been working with Brianna, and yeah, she was saying that she doesn't feel overwhelmed, yeah, and after 6 weeks, her energy levels are sustained. She was having a little troubles with sugar as well, and cravings, which have been resolved. And she's noticing that her clothes are getting looser, and she was saying she's never slept better. Yeah, she's just done some amazing things. So yeah, that's Brianna's experience. And then, oops, sorry, I just moved this across. Not having much luck with the Zoomy thing at the moment. This was her name is, she calls herself Mummy Tin. But yeah, she did my 6-week program as well. And she had a lot of addiction to like soft drinks and sugar, KFC, all those things. And she was feeling really negative about herself. And she was saying she was quite unfit. But she really she had a vision of what she wanted to be. And oops. Yeah, and yeah, she was saying that, yeah, she's made some amazing positive changes. And yeah, she did my 6-week program as well. Sandy, hello. We're just at the end of I'm not sure if you can, hang on, where are we? Not connecting. Okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So it's just, yeah, she had some really great experiences, and she's lost weight. She actually really loves eating veggies now, which is fantastic. She exercises regularly, like literally she's been going to the gym a lot. And she was just not a gym person, which is kind of amazing. She's just done some great work there. And yeah, she found the working with me was really beneficial. And that's the thing, all these clients that have had amazing results, they've done the work. I've just provided the plan to get them started and the support and accountability. Lucy was another lady that did my 6-week program, and it's so funny. She was so hesitant. She was like, oh, I'm not sure about this, you know, like, how can you lose weight without dieting type thing. But yeah, she got so much out of the program. I worked one-on-one with all these ladies, and yeah, she just wanted to learn how to live a healthier and more balanced life. And she got way more out of it than she realized, which is really lovely. And yeah, so she also, just got some great results. Cool. Okay, having trouble with this screen at the moment. So yeah, so if you would like some help with losing some weight, improving your eating habits, having more energy, all of that, and just a plan that's tailored to you that you can always refer back to, then yeah, there's a link here where you can book your nutrition consult as well. And if within Australia, there are private health rebates available as well from certain health providers. So it just makes it a little bit more affordable as well. Cool. All right. So question time. Is anyone, I'm just going to plug this back in. Don't you just love technology when things don't work? Yeah, if you've got any questions, please put them through the chat. Just check in here. You can unmute yourselves as well if you've got any questions that you just want to ask. Otherwise, we'll be finishing up. There we go. Okay. Cool. All right. So if there's no questions, I just want to say thank you so much. I hope you guys got a lot out of today's workshop, and that it's helped you to start thinking about some ways that you can start reducing sugar from your diet. And yeah, if you would like some help, I run a nutrition clinic here. I've got, I do online programs and things like that, but I just wanted to share that I do one-on-one consults, and I can really help you with what you're wanting to achieve in your life as well. Sandy, Bupa is one that I cannot provide a rebate for, but I can with the others. It's just the way that my registration has been set up. So if you're with HIF or God, there's so many other, there's heaps of others, but Bupa is the one that is the only one that I can't provide a rebate on. Linda, my pleasure. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. Claire, you're saying you enjoyed the workshop, great presentation and keen to try the tips. Fantastic. Yes, give the tips a go. This stuff really does work, and it's about putting things in place that works for you. And I can't stress that enough. Sometimes we feel like we have to do things and that isn't suitable for us. And it's about finding things that, like if you're wanting to, have more veggies in your diet, then it's just about going, well, how can I do that works for me? Not what you think you should do. It's all about what works for you. Sandy, you're saying I'd like to book a consult anyway. Oh, fantastic. Cool. Well, look, you've got the link there. I'll send out an email shortly. And yeah, if you wanted to book in a consult, if you do it this week, I'll send you through that meal planning kit as well, which is a great way to get you started. Wendy is saying, thank you. Great as always. I needed the reminders. Oh, great. Wendy, I've loved working with you in the past as well. I hope you're doing great. Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, look, enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's Saturday. It's always very exciting. And yeah, for those that are watching the replay, I hope you get a lot of this value out of this session as well. And I may look at doing another one in the future. Great. Okay. See you, everyone. Bye.